Welcome to Frickety Frack, We Do Talk Back. Thank you for joining me in this episode. My name is Patrick, and I'm Frack. Frickety Frack, We Do Talk Back is a show where I discuss different aspects of fandom and how they relate to the gospel. And so we're going to be going through an episode of My Hero Academia and connected to teachings from the Bible. The name of the show comes from my dad, who dubbed my brother and me Frick and Frack since we were kids. So we're going over the episode My Hero, which is the next episode in the third season of My Hero Academia that I'm covering. And so there's some stuff that really happens in this episode that is really great, because this is the Forest training story arc in My Hero Academia. And so a lot of things are kind of building to more and more. And so this episode's a part of that. And so this is where we get to see some new people in action, including Magna and Spinner, as they face off against the Wild Wild Pussycats. And so what's really happened throughout this episode is that the trap that the Vanguard Action Squad has set has really been sprung. It's now in the very beginning parts of the trap being sprung. And so we find out that, Ragdoll has gone missing. Pixie Bob has basically been put out of commission from the get-go. And she's arguably the most quirk powerful of the pro heroes that are present. Because if you watch the training, the beginning of this season where she, does that giant mudslide and then also makes all of those monsters. She's incredibly powerful. And so taking her out was a really smart move. And so throughout the forest, there's all the gas is being emitted and it's causing issues for the students. But Momo shows she had a great quick thinking when she saw the gas, and she started making gas masks almost immediately to protect several of her fellow students. This shows her improvement since the tournament, and she took her lessons during the final exam to heart about quick thinking. One of the things, the reason why she lost to Tokoyami is because she could not think fast enough to fight against Tokoyami. And so and then that was what really was instilled her, was some confidence by Todoroki, encouraging Momo. He's like, you are one of the smartest persons in our class. You have really great judgment. You got to use it. You can think things through, but you also have to act. You can't overthink it. And so when she did that, when Todoroki gave that encouragement to Momo, that helped her gain that confidence and how she's really grown in her leadership in the class and her use of her quirk. So the main attraction of this episode, though, is Deku versus Muscular. One of the things we find out in this fight is that Muscular is incredibly strong. He has the ability to, grow his muscles and make himself stronger and make himself faster. And he's at the point where he is pretty much close to All Might level strength. He in fact takes the full force of One for All that Midorya can produce. Now at this point he can do the 5% full cowling, but then at a moment's notice, if he knows that he has to do it, he'll do 100% in a punch. And so he does that 100% punch, and he takes it. Now he had to supercharge his quirk and really kind of prepare himself for it, but he was still able to take it. Basically, Midorya has to go plus ultra to defeat Muscular, especially with the current state of Midoriya's use of his quirk. But during this fight that Midorya has with Muscular, we get to learn and get a glimpse more into Koda and his parents, and we find out that Muscular is in fact the person who killed them. And so Deku keeps going at Muscular and protecting Koda, and is like, he eventually comes to the point, he's like, you know what, at a certain point, I'm going to tell you to run, and you're going to run, and you're going to get back to camp as fast as you can. I was like, I'm going to hold him off for as long as I can, because I think Midoriya's at this point is realizing, he's like, I'm not going to win. And so, because of Deku's inspiration as a hero, Koda uses his quirk, which turns out to be control of water. And that gives Midoriya the confidence to, where I said earlier that he goes beyond, he goes plus ultra, where he does a Delaware Detroit smash at 1,000,000%. And so because of that, we get to see Koda declare that Midoriya is his hero. He says, this is my hero. And so this continues to pave the way for Deku's ability of inspiring younger people to either be better heroes, like he did in Heroes Rising, the movie, or young children. And, also with Heroes Rising, they're young children, but he encouraged them to grow in their use of their quirks. But also later on in the season, he makes that connection with Eri. We'll get more to her in the next season. But this is his path, where he is going to be inspiring heroes and students and children and men and women alike. So this was a great episode. Those are the things that I found really fascinating. Like I said, the big thing is Deku versus Muscular. It's a great fight. And one other thing, I did forget to mention this. One of the things that I like about the Muscular fight is that this is Deku's really first time going up against someone on his own. We had the USJ fight but he had Sue and Mineta with him during the fight, and the three of them worked together to take out a bunch of villains. He tried to take out Shigaraki, but the Nomu got in the way. But then after that, it was all, it was teamwork. And then we think of Stain. Well, Stain was, he fought with Ida and Todoroki to take him on at the same time. So Muscular was the first person that he faced really on his own, and he also knows that he has zero chance of backup, except for that little moment from Koda. It's like he's on his own. And so that was really empowering, and I really loved this moment in this fight. And then when Koda declares Midoriya, he's my hero, and I've seen this episode many times before, and I still kind of tear up in these moments when I think about Koda coming to realize that Midoriya is his hero, and it's just very touching. All right, so the biblical theme is Proverbs 13 verse 20, and it says, "Whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm." So I selected this verse because it's something that Tetsu says to Kendo. So they're having this conversation in the woods that they're trying to get their fellow classmates and other classmates in 1A, trying to get them out of the woods and away from the gas. But Tetsu says that he desires to fight against the villains because he says, they are falling behind 1A. He's like, I know we get on Monoma for his rivalry with 1A, but they're right. They passed the same tests to get into UA. They've taken the same curriculum during this time, yet they are behind, and it's because of the experience that each of the students in 1A has experienced in either the USJ incident or more experience during the tournament, or then we got Midoriya, Todoroki, and Ida facing off against Stain. so they just have this, they've overcome all these different crises. And so I like this proverb because it really kind of goes along with what Tetsu says, is like, if we're going to get better, if we're going to become better heroes, we've got to face these crises, and we've got to grow, and so that we can become better heroes. And so what I love about this proverb is that it talks about that if you walk with the wise, you become wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm. And so if you are, walking hand in hand with someone who is a fool, then it's not going to help you. It's going to, in fact, harm you. Now, it might be physically, but it might also just be in stunting your growth as a Christian, or stunting you emotionally, or giving you a bad influence on things. And so, but we as Christians, we're supposed to be striving for that as well, that we are supposed to be growing as disciples of Jesus Christ. And the best way for any one of us to do that is to walk side by side with someone with experience and take in that wisdom so that we can grow. I have pastor colleagues of mine, as I'm the pastor of Richlands Methodist Church, who are more experienced in ministry than I am. And so I walk side by side with them so that I can learn from them and I can grow. But also in these moments where new pastors come to me and I'm like, okay, let me see if I can help you pass along my own wisdom. Now, I mean, I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it's one of the things that I'm supposed to do as a pastor, is to pastor other pastors, to help them grow. And then I do that for my own congregation as well. And even for the members of my congregation who are older and more experienced in almost every form of life than I am. But I'm also supposed to give them wisdom, because I have spent my life preparing for these moments so that I can be a pastor. And so I would encourage you that if you are seeking guidance, find someone who can help you. If you want to reach out in the comments, let me know. I'll do my best to help plug you in somewhere to a church or a leader or a disciple maker who can help you grow in your faith. And so I want to encourage you in those times that if you are struggling and you're like, God, I don't know how to make the next step, how to grow in my disciple life as a disciple of Jesus Christ, reach out to me and I will do my best to guide you to finding resources that you'll be able to connect to, but most importantly, to be able to connect to someone who will be able to help. So I want you to do that this week. You do that? Amen. All right, so how am I going to rate this episode? So for those who have been with Frickety Frack, We Do Talk Back since the beginning, you know that I have normally I have a deduct on the rating whenever Midorya cries, because he's a bit of a crybaby. But I'm going to let it slide this time, because his tears that he has as he is apologizing to his mom and to All Might for failing and not being strong enough to take out Muscular. I'm okay with that, because I'm going to tell you what, if I'm in combat and I know I'm going to be facing my imminent demise, I'm probably going to cry too. So I can't mark him against that. And like I said, the tears he has moves me, and the tears that Coda has moves me. So I'm okay with it. It's not like crybaby stuff. So I'm going to give this episode a solid 4.5, because there is a lot of great moments, but it's, as I said, this was setting up even more combat that's to happen. But I think there could have been a better use of some of the time and allowing for more combat to be shown. Like, there are some great character moments that are really important, but there's also some stuff that's just kind of, not really. And so I think there's just only a teensy bit room for improvement. Other than that, it's a great episode. Like I said, this is starting off a whole bunch of upcoming action that's going to be amazing to watch and experience. And so I can't wait for the next episode. I can't wait to experience that episode with y'all. And so this episode's a 4.5. All right, so anyone with questions for me about the biblical lessons that I talked about in this episode or any other discussion ranging from anime, comics, or just anything in general, feel free to email me at frickityfracktalkback@gmail.com or reach out to me on Twitter at frickityf or at frickityfrack on Instagram and Facebook. So please rate, review, and subscribe. Remember that I love you. Most importantly, God loves you. And go beyond plus ultra.